Hi everyone, I'm Sue Bryce. If we haven't met yet, welcome to my vlog. This is how I grew my personal brand to a $1 million income. I created a company brand in 2002, and then I created a personal brand in 2009. This became a company brand in 2016, and in 2021 this was sold and I became a personal brand again, back to SueBryce.com. So personal brands are typically 6 to 7 figure businesses. Most brands, when they first start out, struggled to reach 6 figures. I did. I had to learn how to sell and I had to learn how to value myself. 6 figures is 100,000 plus in annual revenue and 7 figures is $1 million plus. The definition of a personal brand is a solopreneur or a sole operator, and that means your name and your face. So company brands are typically 7 to 8 figure businesses. 7 figures, again, is $1 million plus, and 8 figures is $10 million plus. Company brands have business partners, staff, or virtual infrastructure, and they're often built to grow or built to sell. So the reason that it's hard for personal brands to reach 8 figures is that they need a growth structure around them, and it's more than a team, or you need to merge your personal brand with a company brand. They say the ultimate marketing strategy is when you're blending a strong personal brand with a company brand. I think the perfect example of that is Michael Jordan and Nike, or Steve Jobs and Apple. So I've created all three. Let me show you my income growth in all three areas. When I was freelancing, I first started out as a photographer. I'd been photographing for 10 years, but I started freelancing in 2001 and I earned $25,000 that year. It was exactly what my wage was. So when I learned that, I learned what a wage mentality is. I created a company brand first because I didn't want to call it my name. It was a photography and makeup studio, and I built this in my garage, and I grew fast, as you can see by this beautiful trajectory of growth. This was a physical service and a physical product, so I was trading money for time. It took me 3 years to break through to sustainable sales, and once I did, I was unstoppable. You know, those first years I always say were brutal, but they provided the most growth that I've ever experienced. I grew fast, I learned self-value, confidence, I learned about money and people management, I learned how to create, a service of value and an experience for my clients. I learned how to create profitable products and sustainable systems, and I learned how to create an offer and a product of value. Mostly, the biggest growth I had throughout these 7 years was I learned how to sell. I learned how to sell myself, my time, and my product. So in year 5, we reached $920,000 in gross income. I had 8 staff, a business partner, a commercial lease in the city. This is phenomenal growth from the outside looking in. People were in awe of what I had achieved. But look at my personal income. It's 15 hours a day, big overheads, wages, burnout was imminent. It was 2008 and there were no digital products yet. Did this company brand exceed 1 million in revenue? No. Got close. Could it? No, because I was too close to burning out. Then 2008 came, and I knew the only way I could grow this brand was if I franchised my business model. After 2008, the world changed, and with the explosion of online content. So after exploring franchise models, I decided to go with online education, and in 2009, I moved to Australia and I created my first personal brand. I was finally Sue Bryce. But first, in 2009, I hit rock bottom. So I moved to Australia and I started this new brand, and I was suddenly paralyzed with fear again, just like I was the first time. But this time I had to put my face, my voice, and my name out there. Remember, everything I had avoided by creating a company brand, even when I'd already proven I could be successful at it, in my little company, I had people all around me. And I didn't realize until I started again that I hid behind them. I was in a new country, and all of a sudden I was this small fish in a really big pond. So when I finally stepped up to this personal brand and found my confidence and worked through all my stupid fears, I was already offering a physical product and service, as a photographer. So I thought this time I'm going to work smarter, not harder. I got a live-work lease and I worked more remotely. I hired contract or 1099 employees instead of part-time, full-time, and I doubled my prices. In 2010, I added physical education products. They were guides and cards that I would sell online but mail out physically. I started speaking on the world stage in my industry, which then took me around the world very quickly. This 10x'd my business. You know, the products were making more money, but when I got up on stage and spoke to my industry, I was fully booked for the next 10 years. I started teaching in-person workshops, and I traveled the world teaching this workshop. It was in 2012 that I was asked to teach that workshop online on Creative Live, which was an online platform. So between 2012 and 2014, I created 3 huge workshops on Creative Live, and they've been a regular source of income for 10 years. So let me break that down. As a provider of a physical product and physical services, I could get my income to $280,000 as a personal brand. But to get to $500,000, just me as a sole operator, I had to add digital products and one-on-one coaching. To get to $1 million, I had to create a platform with a library and a subscription. I ran this platform with one part-time assistant all the way through to 2015, and it was my conscious decision to grow again and become a company brand again. So if you are a personal brand at 5 figures just trying to break through to 6, or you're at 6 and you just want to get to 7, can you see the path to your next step, or are you still struggling to connect all of this and feel that connection and that value? So I'm a perfect case study of a personal brand that went from 0 to $1 million in income. And when I read that personal brands don't become 8-figure brands without this next level structure, then I'm also a poster child for the next level. Look at this. In 2016, I merged my personal brand with a growth team, Craig Swanson, George Varanakis, and Aaron Anderson, and they 6x'd my business for 50% equity. And I became a company brand again, but this time it was my name on the door. So the most extraordinary part about this next journey is this is also a workshop in itself, because it's such an extraordinary story. But fun fact, personal brands make really big money when they're corporatized. And companies or corporations make big money when they're personalized. And that's all we're ever trying to do, is we're trying to create systems around personal brands, and we're trying to personalize company brands. So if you want to take the next step in your brand, then join me for Personal Brand, the workshop on September 10th and 11th. I'm going to be live for 2 days with 7 weeks live coaching. And let me help you cut a clear path to the next level in your brand.